Hello students, and welcome back to another algebra video. You know what to do. Pause the video, try this problem in your notes, and then unpause it to do it with me. Okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point to 2 and has a slope of 3. So, in the end, we want slope-intercept form. In the end, we want y equals mx plus b. But they only give us 1 point and the slope. So it would be easiest to start with point-slope form. So point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, and because they gave us the point 2, 2, that means that x1 is 2 and y1 is also 2. So we have y minus y1 is 2 equals m, which is the slope, 3 times x minus x1 is 2. Awesome. Now, if the problem had asked us to write an equation in point-slope form, we'd be done. But it didn't ask for point-slope form. It asked for slope-intercept form. So now we need to solve for y. We need to get this in the form y equals mx plus b. So first, let's distribute our 3 with our distribution rainbows. And we have y minus 2 equals 3x minus 6. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Okay. And now I want to get rid of this negative 2. I want to get the y all by itself. So let's add 2 to both sides. That leaves us with only y on the left side. That's good. Equals 3x. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And there we go. That looks exactly like y equals mx plus b. So, we are done. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to what we have for today. Today we're going to finish section 4.2, which is about writing equations in point-slope form. And our learning target is that you remember what point-slope form is. You are truly understanding what point-slope form is. And our success criteria is that you can write equations of lines in point-slope form and slope-intercept form, of course, because we know how to change between the two, using points. Using points. Okay, so a quick refresher on what point-slope form is. Remember, it is y1, or excuse me, it is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's point-slope form. x1 and y1 are the coordinates of the point that they give us, and m, as always, is our slope. Okay, so let's jump right in. Oh wait, actually, let's not jump right in. I really liked, this was in our textbook, and I really liked how they outlined this, so I thought I would give it to you. I wouldn't say that you need to write this down, but if you're a step-oriented person, step 1, step 2, this might help you to write this down. But don't focus too much on like memorizing these steps. Focus on understanding the problem. So, writing equations of lines given 2 points. When you are given 2 points on a line, you can write an equation of the line using the following steps. So, step 1, find the slope of the line. M equals what? Step 2, use the slope and one of the points to write an equation of the line in point-slope form. So, because they gave us 2 points, we already have x1 and y1, so all that's left is to find the slope, and then you just need to write it out. Y minus y1 equals yada yada yada. And so step 2 is just finishing the problem. Step 1 is finding the slope. Okay, wonderful. Let's jump right in. Now we'll jump right in. Okay. Example 2, using 2 points to write an equation. So, write an equation of slope-intercept form. Oh, in slope-intercept form. Okay, so remember that means in the end, we want y equals mx plus b. In the end. Okay, so write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line shown. Now, I know what you're thinking. We could do what we did at the end of 4.3. Also, this looks very similar to a problem that we did, excuse me, not 4.3, the third part of 4.1. This also looks very similar to a problem that we did in 4.1, where we had a graph and 2 points, but remember that they showed us one of those points was on the y-axis. So we knew what the y-intercept was immediately, and that's why it was so easy to put it in slope-intercept form, because I knew what the intercept was, and I could count the boxes, or I could use, y2 minus y1 to find the slope. But we don't have the y-intercept. So we only have 2 points. So we are going to start in point slope form, and we're going to end in, I'm writing this behind me. We're going to start in point slope form, and we're going to end in slope intercept form. Okay, so remember that point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I have 2 points. I need to find the slope. So you know what to do. Let's make this point number 1, and let's make this point number 2. And let's do m equals y2. Actually, I'm going to move this over here. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, y2 is negative 2 minus y1 is 2 over x2 is 3 minus x1 is 1. So, negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. And what is negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2. So, we know that m is negative 2. Awesome. Perfect. So let's plug that in. We have y minus y1 equals negative 2 times x minus x1. And oh my goodness, look at that. We already know what x1 and y1 are. Now remember, when we pick which point is x1, y1, which point is x2, y2, it doesn't matter which one is x1, y1, which one is x2, y2. We picked this to be point number 1 and this to be point number 2. We easily could have switched these. We would have gotten the exact same slope. We just would have had things in a little bit different of an order. So remember that it doesn't matter which point is point number 1 and which point is point number 2. But labeling x1 and y1 makes it really easy to plug things in to our equation, because x1 is 1 and y1 is 2. So we have y minus 2 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. There you go. Now remember that we have point-slope form right now, but we need to move to slope-intercept form. So we are going to distribute the -2. Zoom in so we can see better. Y minus 2 equals -2 times x, and -2 times -1. Negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. Perfect. Now I just need to get y by itself so that it looks like y equals mx plus b. So y minus 2, to get rid of the -2, I'm going to plus 2 to both sides. That gives me y equals -2x plus 4. And hey, that looks exactly like y equals mx plus b. So we are done. Okay, let's check and make sure that we were correct. Slope is -2, and y equals -2x plus 4. So we were right. One thing I want to point out, they say another way. So they say you can use either of the given points to write an equation of the line. So here they picked 1, 2, just like we did, but up here they use the point 3, -2. And you can see that they get the exact same answer. It does not matter which point you use. You will get the same answer. So don't worry about knowing which point to use. You can use whichever one you want. Okay, awesome, cool. Let's move on to our last example for today. Example 3, writing a linear function. So this should look very similar to a problem that we did in 4.1. Now remember, when they say f of 4 equals -2, we're talking about 4 is our input, our x value, and -2 is our output, or our y value. So anytime you see f of something equals blah, we know that whatever is inside of the parentheses is our input, or our x, and whatever f of x is equal to is our y, because f of x is the same thing as y. Okay, so we have the point 4, -2, and we also have the point 8, 4. So we have 2 points, and they want us to write a linear function with these values. So remember that writing a linear function means that we want f of x equals. In the end, we should have f of x equals blah, 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 blah. Okay. So let's see, because I have 2 points, let's start in point-slope form. Point-slope form. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, first thing we should do is find m. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. And m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 4 minus y1 is -2 over x2 is 8 minus x1 is 4. So 4 minus -2 minus a negative comes together, becomes positive. So 4 plus 2 is 6. and 8 minus 4 is 4. Is that it? Do I leave it like that? Or can I reduce it? And if I divide the top and the bottom by 2, you'll see that I get 3/2. And that is as reduced as possible. And a pro tip, if you have an even number on the top and the bottom, you can always reduce it, because you can always divide by 2. Any even number is divisible by 2. That's the definition of what an even number is. Okay, so m, we have y minus y1 equals m, which is 3/2, times x minus x1. Now, I need to plug in x1 and y1. We decided that x1 and y1 was the first point that they gave us. But remember that you can also use the second point and it'll work just fine. So we have y minus y1 is -2 equals 3/2 x minus x1 is 4. All right, and minus a negative comes together, becomes positive, so let's change that to y plus 2. Now remember that they wanted a linear function, which means instead of writing y equals, we're going to use f of x. Remember that y and f of x are the same thing, so we can just change y to f of x. But is it really a function if I have f of x plus something equals blah, blah, blah? Typically, when we talk about functions, we want f of x equals blah, blah, blah. So I need to get rid of this 2. Now, if I try to subtract 2 from both sides, I have these parentheses here. So let's get rid of the parentheses. I'm going to zoom in here. And we'll do 3/2 times x is 3/2 x. And 3/2 times -4. This requires you to remember how to multiply fractions. If I take 3/2 times 4, remember this is 3/2 times 4 over 1, which is 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 1 is 2, and what is 12 divided by 2 but 6? And it's negative because I have x minus 4. So 3/2 times -4 gives me -6. Okay. All right, so this gives us f of x plus 2 equals all of this. And now, if I subtract by 2 to get rid of the 2 on the left, then I get f of x equals 3/2 x minus 8. And I have f of x on one side of the equation all by itself equals yada, yada, yada. So you can see now why it's helpful to be able to switch between point-slope form and slope-intercept form, because this final answer here, that's slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b. Did you notice that? If you did, awesome. If you didn't, don't worry about it. Okay, let's check and make sure that we were correct. The slope is 6/4 or 1.5. Oh, so they did 1.5. Okay. -4 minus 8. Okay. So remember that 3/2 is the same thing as 1.5. So don't immediately think, oh no, our answer's wrong, or oh no, your answer's wrong. Like, no, no, no. Check and make sure, oh, that's just the decimal form of what I had. Their answer is the exact same as ours. We just used the fraction instead of the decimal. So, if you ever think you got something wrong on your homework and you have no idea why you got it wrong, check and see if, oh, I used a decimal when they used a fraction, or something like that. But yeah, we are correct. And that is wonderful, because that was the last example that we had for today. So, at this point in time, you probably already know, I'm going to ask you to rate your understanding of the learning target and the success criteria. How do you feel about finding equations in point-slope form using 2 points? Finding the slope and then plugging one in. And, I mean, you can also ask, how do you feel about changing between slope, or point-slope form and slope-intercept form? How do you feel about changing between the two? So, remember, if you're a 1, reach out, get some help. If you're a 2, work hard on your homework. And if you're a 3, help a friend. Okay. All right, here are some practice problems you can do to practice the skills that you have learned in this video. You'll notice that the first set of problems are like example 2. The last set of problems are like example 3. And the middle set of problems wasn't exactly like any of the problems we did. It is write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that goes through the 2 points. So it's like example 2, but without the graph. Instead of the graph, I just give you the points. So it's similar to example 2. Okay, awesome, wonderful. Now, let's end our video with a launch, just like usual, shall we? So, today's launch comes from a person whose name I don't know how to pronounce, so I'm not gonna butcher it, but they say, life is a series of baby steps. And I think that this is especially helpful to hear when you're in high school, because there are some big decisions that you make in high school. Like, do I go to college or not? What do I do after high school? That's something that you think about throughout high school, and it can be so scary to think about, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't know what path is right for me. I mean, there are other things like, typically we start dating around high school, and those can be some big decisions. But remember, life is a series of baby steps. You do not have to know exactly what you're doing all the time. When I was a sophomore in high school, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea that I would be a math teacher. I had thought about it a little bit. It had crossed my mind that maybe I could do that. But I also wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to study narwhals. I had no idea if I was actually going to be a math teacher or not. Even my junior year of high school, I didn't really know. It wasn't until the summer of my junior year of high school that I really started looking more into what do I want to do with my life. And so if you're ever feeling overwhelmed by decisions, should I date this person? What are my boundaries? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? What career do I want? What college do I go to? If you're ever feeling overwhelmed with a big, huge decision, remember, life is a series of baby steps. Take one piece at a time. Instead of, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Think, what do I really enjoy? Let me do more of what I really enjoy. I really like knitting. Let's keep knitting for now. See where knitting takes us. Maybe research one college or talk to somebody that went to that college and see how they feel. You don't need to finish all your college applications and figure out exactly what college you want to go to in one day. That's not how it works. You tour colleges, you talk to other people that went to those colleges, you apply, there are several steps that you take before you decide exactly which college you want to go to. So In any decision, big or small, remember that life is a series of baby steps. So, that is my launch for you today. Take it with you as you go throughout your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Bye.